Hello, everyone. Fantastic to be here with you today on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Just streaming live with actually a leadership topic today that I'm very passionate about because I think this is something that can actually trip people up. So, before I go into our topic today, which is about like how do we keep leading when people don't get it or when they're not getting on board. I have one thing I want to say. I just want to thank everyone who is reaching out to me in the private messages, thanking me for my content, inquiring about working with me. It's very it warms my heart when that happens, and I want to just take a minute to say thank you for that. I appreciate it. So let's dig in. And I am curious today if anyone who is either watching me here live or catching the replay, can you relate to this topic of like, what if I'm leading and people just don't get it? Like, what if they're either not getting on board, they're confused by your vision, maybe they just don't even understand what you're talking about, right? Because I think this can be so challenging as a leader. And I've actually experienced this at many different levels. As some of you all know, and my corporate career covered about I think 23 years, and you guys can start guessing my age because I've also been coaching for about the last 11. So it's a long time. But back when I was in corporate, especially as a new leader, this was really challenging to me at times when I would feel like, "Ooh, I have such a great direction. The company is going in a particular direction. Here's how I'm going to support the company, and here's how I'm going to support my team." I would start leading the team, and sometimes my experience was, I have a tickle right here. My experience was people would hop on board, people would get the direction. I would look behind me and people would be following, and I'd know like, okay, great. We're firing on all engines. We would often meet and exceed our goals when that would happen, and that was an incredibly fulfilling experience. But I also had the opposite experience. And some of you may relate to this as well, where I would think I was articulating very clearly where we were going, and I would put a lot of effort into that and enthusiasm into that, as is my way. And then I would find out a month later or 2 months later that like nobody got on board, right? And I couldn't quite work out why that was. Why was it that sometimes when I would lead and provide a direction, people really got it and got on board and followed and supported, and why other times it was like pulling teeth, you know? And that was something that got me just very interested in the topic of leadership, even way back then, starting a lot of years ago. So now, as a coach, excuse me for a minute, I I've experienced that as a coach and a mentor many times, as well, where I will put myself out there. I will, publish a website or do one of these lives, publish marketing material, put out a class, that sort of thing. And people completely get on board. Um, they start picking up what I'm putting down, and that is such a great day, right? When that happens, we love that. We love that. But then there are times as well where maybe you put something out there, like maybe it's some, marketing campaign that you have, or maybe you're publicizing, some of your own work, or just trying to get your team on board. And then, like, it's crickets, right? It's like, what is going on? I've experienced that a lot. Anytime any of us are at the leading edge, doing something different than other people are doing, holding beliefs different than the collective, that is going to happen. Like it's going to happen that people don't always hop on board right away. And like, so then what's up with that? Why is that? And I think a lot of times it's tempting to blame it on the circumstances. Well, the circumstance is like I'm talking about something that's a little bit more out there. I mean, I do that all the time. So maybe it's that. Okay. Maybe it's just that this topic is too like too out there for what I'm trying to say. Or like if you're working internally within a company, maybe it's the vision is just too big. People can't get on board with it. Okay? But I don't think it's that. Okay? And I'm going to attempt in this live to flesh out what I do think it is and kind of what we can do about this, right? Because it's, as leaders, we want people to be on board. Ultimately, if there's never anybody on board, then are we really a leader? Right? If a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, was there a noise or whatever that saying is, right? So ultimately, we do want to get people on board. So I want to flesh out just briefly today what I think the discriminator is here. Like, what is it that actually changes? It's not like how big the vision is. Is it too big of a leap? It's not how big the belief is or how different it is. Here's what I think it is. And this is what I'm going to cover in an upcoming class, which I'll link in the comments below. This is what I think it is. It has to do with our own energetic belief, our own belief in ourselves, our own belief in what it is that we're articulating, and ultimately the energy with which we are articulating it. And you can tell right here that I'm saying something that I think is on the cusp because you can hear it in my voice, right? All of a sudden, for whatever reason, my voice has started to waver. my, like I got sinus, which I was sitting here for 3 hours this morning with no sinus problems, right? But my voice is picking up on my energy. Kim is going out on a limb here to say a lot of what we do in leadership has to do with energy. Actually, I would even say all of what we have to do in leadership has to do with our internal energy that then gets transmitted out into the collective, out to our teams, out to the social media world, out to whoever your audience is, right? And if we don't care for the energy, if we don't really take care of our energy, then anything that comes after that, anything that comes on top of that is going to be tainted. And it starts to explain why sometimes we step into a leadership position and people just get on board. People follow, people like pick up what we're putting down, right? People get it, right? And we all want that. The reason I believe that is because it starts in our energy. We're 100% on board, right? We don't often think about that. It looks like, no, it's them that don't get it. But on some level, if we don't believe in ourselves, it's going to show up out here, right? And it's the same thing. It's also true that like when they're not getting it, we have to look back to ourselves. What part of me does not believe in this? What part of me believes I can't have what I want? What part of me believes that it's something outside of me that's creating my experience as a leader, right? And so when we really lock this in as 100%, then things start to shift. Okay. And so what that looks like is like I'll just be vulnerable with something that happened for me very recently. So I started promoting my incredible upcoming class, Infinite Leader, that has all to do with the energetics of leadership. It has to do with a leadership frequency. It's like this program, it's kind of a mini program, is amazing. Like I am so excited about delivering it. I'm so excited about what I've been seeing just by saying, here's what I'm going to do. And I started promoting it yesterday and no one's bought it yet, right? So I get to choose. Like I would love if 10 people bought it right off the bat, right? We love when that happens. Like I love when people go like, oh yeah, I'm in right off the bat. But that's not what happens. So I have a choice. I have a choice in terms of my energy. I can go into the energy of, I can tend the energy of, oh crap, no one bought. I hope that, I don't want to be embarrassed. Like what happened? I put myself out there, but like I can go into that energy. And honestly, if this was 3 years ago, that's what I would have done. That's what I would have done. But instead, like, because I believe so strongly in energy, I believe in how it impacts leadership so strongly, it doesn't phase me. It's like I just keep going. Because honestly, if the worst of worst happens, like if 0 people sign up, or probably worse would be 1 person signed up, guess what? I get to deliver my program and I get to feel even deeper into what I believe, right? And this is so with anything that you all have as a vision, as a goal you've put out there, as a directive to your team, as whatever you're putting out there, you can choose the energy of I'm in 100%. You get to decide that. It doesn't matter what's happening out here at all. Or you can be in reaction to what's outside of you, which again is how 99.9% of the world lives. And I don't suggest it, right? I don't suggest that as a leadership stance because it's going to make your leadership so much more difficult. So this piece, and I don't think of very many things in life as like 100% or 0 as like an off and on switch. I think there's a lot of gray in life. But when it comes to this piece about energetics, I do think it's either 100% or 0, because if you're at 99%, like belief, 99% of your energy's in, that 1% is a killer. It's a killer. It to me almost negates the rest of your belief, right? And so the thing is, and I'm going to go into this much more in my class, is that all of us have access to this limitless, infinite energy that I'm talking about, that allows us, when we have a disappointment, when we notice like, oh, nobody's behind me, nobody's following me, am I a leader? Like, what's going on here? Nobody's responding, no one gets it, they're doing everything wrong, whatever. All of us have access to infinite depth of leadership, right? To handle that situation, to not get rocked at all by that situation, to not wobble. I often say in my world, no wobbles. Train yourself to not wobble. I don't mean don't be in the reality of what's happening. I don't mean be emotionless, but I say don't let your energy wobble. You have the capacity to stay 100% all in on you, all in on your vision, all in on your level of leadership. And to me, what I'm talking about here, this is the heart of leadership. Like, this is a lot of why I do what I do, why I put my sometimes crazy ideas out there, sometimes things that people don't want to get on board with. But like, I see the limitless nature of each person. I see the infinite leader in each person. And I'm not going to stop until people start really getting this, right? Other than my close clients obviously get this, right? But I want more people to access this because it makes life so much more enjoyable. It makes not just your work life so much more enjoyable, but like your whole life. Like, you live a whole life. None of us have a business life and a life, personal life, right? We have one life that we're living here. And if it looks like 2 separate, like it's just one life, and we can enjoy all of it infinitely, right? Like, all of it, the successes, the failures, the speed bumps, the celebrations. We have capacity to enjoy all of that, but not if our energy gets jerked around by circumstances. If our leadership energy gets jerked around by whether people are on board or not on board, then have fun with that, right? That's no fun. And I've been there. Like, I get that. Actually, I used to think that the world worked, that we just kind of reacted to what was going on outside. That's what I thought. That's how most of us are conditioned. I mean, I think a few of us maybe have good clean conditioning, but most of us are conditioned that way. But we can recondition ourselves. Doesn't matter how old we are, doesn't matter if you're a new leader, if you wonder if you're a leader, doesn't matter if you're in leadership a really long time like I have, we can recondition ourselves to run the divine infinite energy through us that does not contain doubts. It doesn't contain fears. It doesn't contain all the what if nobody comments, right? Is that this is the heart of leadership. This allows us to expand our impact infinitely as leaders. I hope that you all have enjoyed and landed this message. If you are here, if you enjoyed, make a comment, send me a private message. If you catch the replay, same thing. I love hearing from you all. I appreciate you all listening, and I will be back soon with another message on leadership. Thanks so much.